What's up, guys? I'm Alex.
I'm Jason. We're the Table Monkeys, and this is Table Talks, episode number 51.
Yeah. Not a special episode anymore. Just back to the regular old shit.
Yeah, 51. Just starting a new cycle. And we got a few things to talk about. Obviously, we're going to go over some of the East versus West matches. We obviously, if you listen to our last Table Talks, had some pretty horrible predictions. But we got some right.
Yeah.
But
we were a little biased.
Yeah, we had some bias going on. And I mean, honestly, the first match we're going to talk about is the one that we were really wrong about.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people were wrong about it. I think a lot of people picked it the way we picked it.
Well, it was a shutout stake, wasn't it?
It was a shutout stake, and it went the completely opposite way. So that first match that we're going to talk about is Monster Michael Todd versus Gennady Vikvinya, the Georgian... I don't know does he have a nickname?
I don't think so.
He's I don't want to call him a freak, but he's just like, he's an exuberant.
Yes. That's just awesome because they both have very similar personalities and energies going into matches.
Yeah, totally. And
apparently this match has been planned or been wanting to happen for over a decade.
Yeah, which again is mainly due to the similarities in their personalities and how passionate, excited, over the top they get.
Willing to never quit.
Yeah, the never quit is something they both have. They would much rather leave with an injury than a loss.
Yeah.
So,
but only one man came out victorious.
Yeah, only one man can win, and in any of these competitions. And so we said it was going to be Todd 3-0. Sweeping. Yeah. We thought that the 2.0 version was going to be something really special.
Thought Gennady's wrist couldn't take it.
Yeah, after seeing Hermes.
I thought I'd heard that he had a wrist injury.
Yeah, that had been floating around, and maybe it's true, maybe it's not. Maybe he had been, and it he was able to deal with it before the match actually happened. We know that we've been hearing a little bit about Michael Todd's riser and pronation being a little compromised, but that seemed to have been fixed. And then in the match, it seemed to have not been fixed.
Yeah, I mean, Gennady looked pretty horrible against Hermes.
Yeah, that was based. That was where we're comparing, right? Like the main thing we were judging our predictions off of were Hermes' match with Gennady, where he just took his hand so easily that we really saw Michael being able to just crack that wrist back. And also Gennady put out a video a number of months ago describing how to beat the King's move, and it was absolutely asinine.
Yeah, it could have been partly because he doesn't speak English that well, but from what I saw, it looked like he didn't know what the fuck he was talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Not even like the way his translation or any of that. It was more just like what he was saying you should do was like, no, don't do that. And if he had have taken that approach, obviously maybe it would have gone differently, but he didn't take that approach.
I think he took a lot of inspiration from Devin.
Yeah, he definitely looked a lot like he was approaching it the way Devin approached it. I have no idea if he watched any of our videos, but he was definitely doing some of the things that we said about controlling the pronation and using the front corner of the pad. I did even see him at one point drag and use the back far corner of the pad, like I say to do, before driving again.
But the main thing was just climbing that hand, getting deeper and deeper, controlling that hand before hitting to the side.
Yeah, I think Gennady did a great job of maneuvering and decoding the King's move, no question. But at the same time, especially the second time I watched the match, I really noticed how passive, especially in the first round, Michael was in his King's move. Like, he got a really good stop on his King's move. He did his patented, look over to Rebecca and scream, like, this is it, I got it. It's not like there's no way he's going to win now that I got the stop. And if you watch previous matches with him from this point, he's going to start hitting into the hand and just being more aggressive and laying down more, not worrying about whether or not he's standing, but just making sure that he's attacking the person's hand. And in this match, he was just kind of sitting there waiting, and then he would absorb the hits, and there were a couple times where he seemed to fight back a bit, but Gennady was smart enough at maintaining what he needed to and attacking what he needed to in the hits that once he hit him a few times, all of a sudden Michael's hand went from being okay to being fucked.
Yeah.
And it was that first round when he starts pushing, you can see him start to try to get his shoulder in and start pushing his shoulder in. At that point, his hand is just, the only reason he's pushing to get inside is not because it's there, it's because his hand's gone.
Yeah, exactly. Gennady was very smart. He never hit to a point where he would start to lose his hand. He would always reset, come back, and then hit again. He was very smart in the way he executed his plan, and he just took a little bit more out of Michael each hit. And Michael, is fighting in the King's move with it looked like he couldn't rise, couldn't keep his pronation, and it was in a compromised position and kept losing bit by bit. And Gennady just,
and also maybe tricks on the strap. Like, I know some people were complaining the strap was maybe too loose and all that. I didn't hear Michael complain about that, but it did look like that in the way the refs were setting it up and all that.
And how easy it was for Gennady to climb.
Yeah, exactly. And the point is that if you've just been too strong or so strong for so long and been so far ahead of the competition, then those tricks don't really matter because A, you're so far ahead, or B, people aren't really using them. But the game is growing so fast and it's getting so big that people know these tricks, they know how to use them, and it looked like Gennady was using some strap tricks against him to really make sure that the strap was playing to his favor and not to Michael's favor. But the point you just made too about Gennady not hitting too far, that is a really good observation. Is at no point did Gennady lay on a hit. He never hit and tried to push through.
Yep.
He would only hit to a point and then, like you said, reset. And the only time he hit to go all the way through was when Michael came in to get his shoulder, and then he hit and Mike wasn't able to get to his King's move in time. And even that one, if that had stopped earlier, I don't think he would have driven through. It was just that it didn't stop until it was a pin, so he got the pin.
Exactly.
So that... as something to learn from this match as a puller, watch the way Gennady hit against the King's move. It was perfect.
Yep.
And we say that in our video too. You have to hit against it to find where that stop is and to start maneuvering it and figuring it out. You can't just not hit, but you can't drive through the hit. Once you hit the stop, you have to move back and reset. He did that absolutely
perfectly. You can use those hits to gain more position in your hand. So you hit, and as you're coming back to center, that's your opportunity to take more hand before you can start hitting again.
Which usually in this against the King's move is going to be, which it seemed like what Gennady was able to do, is keeping your cup and taking some pronation on each hit and each reset. And in doing so, as the pronation goes, the riser just kind of comes with it. Like
you can see Mike's hand slipping down the strap. And he's basically holding onto his wrist near the end of each match.
And I don't think if you watch it again, and I'd have to like triple watch it now and to really double check, but I don't feel at any time Gennady was really posting hard against it. Like, he was obviously maintaining some posting strength, but it was always either hitting, like pushing to the side and trying to get cup, or like when he's posting, he's still trying to get cup. Like, he's not actually trying to rise out of Mike's hand. Like, my point is the rising was just kind of happening from the other stuff he was doing, which I think is an important thing, again, with the King's move, because when you rise against the King's mover, you're kind of giving them an opportunity to rise with you, which usually they'll beat you on.
Right.
And there never seemed to be that regrip that you usually see in a King's move match where they both come up to center and Mike gets that one, he gets his two fingers over and then all of a sudden he's got the advantage. That never happened because Gennady never strictly just posted with him. He was always resetting, gaining cup, hitting to the side, or controlling the center, but not actually like laying back on his tricep and trying to outrise Mike, which I think was another really good choice by Gennady. So great job by Gennady. Really surprised both of us.
He definitely shoots up close to that top 5 mark.
Yeah, that's got to put him way up, at least in the top 10 now for the world rankings. But unfortunately, I think more so than moving Gennady up, I think it really just knocks Mike back at this point because like now we need to see who can Mike beat. Not saying that like, anybody can beat Mike, but like where does he actually lie now?
Did you watch his live stream post-fight?
Yeah, and he's talking about no more, like he wants to get shredded, and he looked really depressed, which I understand. I know like that's probably the best he's ever taken a loss, and it's probably one of the worst losses he's ever taken. You know what I mean? So that's awesome. But yeah, getting lean and everything, and I think we've talked about this before. As the sport grows and the monsters just keep getting more monstrous,
this monster starts to
he starts to look like a different weight class, and in powerlifting the weight classes go all the way up to 308. You got 275, 308, and then super heavyweight. So right now with arm wrestling, it's like 225, 242 is kind of that cutoff, and then it becomes super heavy. And I think it's just getting to that point where we need that extra class where you've got guys like Dave Chafee, like Matt Mask, Michael Todd, Devin, all those guys that could easily, if the cutoff was 275, they would all make that class happily,
healthily,
healthy as well, right? And then if someone does have the frame like Devin or like
you've got guys like Derek Smith,
Derek Smith, Eric Spoto, maybe if he wants to get into it,
Jerry Caderet, those guys are like more super heavyweight style.
Exactly, and maybe that line does need to be divided, because even in the WAL you've got matches where Jerry's 335, and he's going against Toddzilla at 254. It's like, this is not an even, like, they're not both super heavyweights. These are two different weight classes now, and arm wrestling thankfully is getting big enough where the classes are getting big enough that we could probably add that extra class, and maybe that'll happen, and maybe Mike can have a whole nother 20 years of arm wrestling.
We still love you, Mike.
Yeah,
and please don't quit on us.
Yeah, I don't think he's quitting. Like he said, he'll always be arm wrestling, but like, is he going to chase that number one spot? No. But we'll come back to that, because that does kind of lead into our whole arm wrestling team thing that we're going to talk about at the end of this podcast. This is just an example of why it would be so great, because it would give someone like him, who maybe he can't be number one anymore, but he's still completely relevant.
That is true.
Give him a place to be.
Anyway,
all right, so we're going to move on, and we're going to try to get through the next few matches a little bit quicker, because we just realized this took us 10 fucking minutes. So yeah, the next match, should we do Brzenk?
Yeah, the GOAT.
The GOAT. Acting like the GOAT, being the GOAT, showing up the GOAT once again.
Yeah.
Just pure domination in this match. It was beautiful to watch. He went everywhere. He controlled him everywhere. He did whatever he wanted, even to the last round where I didn't even know this. You said that Engin yells to him, "Can you reverse it from there?"
Yeah.
And he just fucking perfect, classic Brzenk reversal.
Controlled him everywhere, exactly.
Yeah.
Didn't get moved off center once.
No, just
did whatever he wanted.
Just perfect, yeah.
And obviously Zolov, I've heard that he was a little injured. He had COVID. So, yeah, maybe it wasn't a purely fresh fight.
Let's say Zolov was 10% off his peak. John was well more than 10% ahead of him.
I'd like to think so.
That's how it looked anyway. So I'd like to say if Zolov showed up, completely on fire, maybe John wouldn't have been able to play with him as much.
Because it looked easier than the Dimitri match.
Yeah.
And I just don't think that should have happened.
Yeah, it looked extremely easy, which maybe, again, the styles make matches. Like, Zoloev is more of a hook puller. He's learned how to top roll, did a good top roll against Todd, but he's not really a top roller. Mm-hmm. So maybe top rolling John, not a great idea. Dimitri, through and through top roller and a world-class top roller. So obviously his top roll looked better than Zoloev's.
Yeah.
So
plus he's taller, better levers. Zolov's still, a short guy.
Yeah.
He's a middleweight.
That's true, yeah. So top rolling, the lever-wise, just not great, right?
Yeah.
And but in a hook, didn't look good either. Like I said, just got reversed once he was in there.
Easy match, but who's John going to pull next?
I don't know who. Does he have a match scheduled? I'm sure he's got some, but honestly, I don't even care. I'd watch John pull anybody.
I think there's rumors about him pulling Toddzilla.
Yeah, everybody wants to see that at some point.
Yeah.
Todd's really busy, so I'm sure he would pull that no matter what. But
sure.
I'm also sure that if he was going to pull Brzenk, he'd want to be ready for it.
For sure.
And,
Speaking of Toddzilla.
Yeah, should we just get to his match next? Because, we don't know who John's going to pull, but honestly, I don't care who it is. I want to watch him pull as much as possible. Yeah. Watching John pull in a hook is probably one of the most, beautiful things to watch in arm wrestling. Okay, so next, Toddzilla versus Jordan. We got this one right. I didn't see this being much of a match.
Yeah, no, we knew Jordan was going to come inside and try to hook with Todd, and that wasn't going to work because it never works.
Yeah.
So it was, 2-0. And then third round, Jordan tries to top roll.
And also not a good option after you've wasted your arm twice in a row trying to hook with him because,
Todd's hand is just looking solid.
It is, and that's what Lachlan was saying about it, just saying how shocked he was at how strong his hand is. So
just contained him.
Yeah.
Looked at him.
Yeah.
Shook his head.
Yeah.
And then calmly brought him down.
Really good arm wrestling, and watching Todd set up for the hook too.
Take note of that.
Yeah, take note. Yeah, some of the tricks that he's using. He's awesome to watch pull. So, congratulations to him. Looking strong as hell. Not much more we can say about that. Next match we'll talk about is Schoolboy and Herman.
Yeah, so obviously this was supposed to be Schoolboy and Evan.
Yeah.
It's very sad that we didn't get to see that.
Yeah.
I really didn't think Herman would have a chance with Schoolboy. I'm assuming that he was coming off not consistent training.
He looked like he was coming off not consistent training. He didn't look super ready or anything like that. And considering how well he did, I think Evan was close. Right
he was in there.
I think he was right there. I think, again, as I said before, shutout stakes definitely would have taken Evan.
Yeah.
Could Evan have won the whole thing? I don't know. I have not pulled with Evan since he's done this prep, so I have no idea where his hand is actually at. He's been saying that his right hand is on another level now than it's ever been, which would definitely change his game because he's never been much of a hand puller on his right. It's always about his arm and his elbow. And Schoolboy was going inside with Herman. So if he had I don't care how much Schoolboy's been training, really, I don't think going inside would have been a good option with Evan.
Yeah. And his hand obviously wasn't enough to compete with Herman.
It didn't look like it, right? Like,
no.
It looked like he needed to go inside a bit. So I think Evan was definitely in that match. Hopefully one day we do get to see that match. I know Evan hasn't had any announcements, I don't think, recently, but hopefully he's got some good stuff in the go. Hopefully we get to see some good matches from Evan soon. And yeah, Schoolboy, he came out on top, but again, not much of a win for him because I don't think anybody saw Herman doing much with him. And
there was no hype behind it.
There was no real hype. And in reality, like, he did lose a round. He did have to hook. Probably some negatives to take away from it when you really look at it, especially considering how possibly detrained Herman actually was.
Yeah.
No way to really know. We'll do Morozov next, and then we'll end with the match of the day. So Morozov, high hopes for this guy. And
very impressive young guy. I think he's only 23 or 24.
24. He's 24, same as Tobias. So we'll talk about him and Tobias first. They've pulled a lot in the WAF juniors and stuff. They've had a bunch of matches before.
Yeah, but it was a long time ago.
But it's not, like, a few years ago.
5 years. Juniors.
No, 21, right? I'm pretty sure I saw stuff from 2018 with them.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, it's within a few years.
Yeah.
And they know each other a bit. It's not like styles change that much, so it's just more about who's gotten stronger and everything.
And it turns out Morozov's gotten stronger.
Yeah, Morozov has.
Well, they both got stronger.
Morozov's hand looked awesome. Tobias's hit looked vicious.
Yeah.
When he nailed that thing looked amazing.
And apparently this is Tobias' stronger hand, his left. And he just had a match with Kardashev where he looked half decent. He lost 3-0 without his right hand. So if we're assuming that Tobias' left hand is stronger, and then he gets dominated by Morozov left-handed.
Yeah.
Morozov is a bad dude.
Morozov is a bad dude left-handed. Yeah, I mean, I would say he did dominate him. He was able to get him where he wanted more often.
Controlled the hand, controlled the arm.
More often than he wasn't. Yeah. I think with it, they both seemed like a bit of a silver bullet in the sense that if they didn't get where they wanted, it was over.
Yeah, it's true. Tobias wasn't out of the match for sure.
No,
like,
and Morozov didn't show to be very versatile. It showed like he needed the hook, or that was all he was going to get.
Right.
Can he put Alex in a hook? I don't think so.
No.
But who knows? But yeah, Morozov is a beast. He's also frame-wise, I don't think he's
not a super.
He's not a super heavyweight. You know, he's pancaked himself up there pretty good already. So
yeah. I think he weighed 270.
I don't know what the weights were. I didn't see the weights actually. But awesome match, impressive match by both of them. Both brutally strong, and both young. So like, who knows where they're going to end up going, right?
Yeah.
And then Morozov versus Prudnik, and the reason we kind of do it in this order is to be able to exemplify the levels in this sport. And Prudy, as I'm going to continue to call him, just showing what the levels are all about.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
like,
and him obviously, like Herman, not coming off inconsistent training because obviously it was supposed to be Marcio.
Yeah, so I mean, he did have 5 weeks. Like,
is it 5 weeks?
Yeah,
okay.
So he did have a bit of time to at least think about it and, you know, like make sure that all supplementation was appropriate. But yeah, as far as training goes, no, he's not. It's not like he just came off a big training cycle to be ready for a big match. I don't think he had anything else planned either. So impressive job by Prudnik, and just shows what like the level that he has. He looks so versatile on the table. Like he's a great guy to watch arm wrestle as well. Like just so
calm and collected.
Yeah, and so technically smooth. Like nothing frantic. Everything seems like orchestrated and planned out.
Very much like John Brzenk.
Yeah,
and I think Devin even compared the two people.
Yeah, I like that comparison. There's a good match. I would love to see John and Prudnik.
Yeah,
that would be a great match for sure. I would give John the edge, but I don't want to see not by much. Yeah, because Prudnik does look awesome, and he just looks so smart. Like when watching the match, just the setup, the everything, and watching some of his older matches too. He's versatile. He's smart. He really understands the fight aspect of it, the martial arts aspect of it, and he ends up injuring Morozov two pulls in. So first pull, put him in a hook, pulled him down. Looked like it was a little easy. Like maybe Morozov felt a little something kind of, crink or crack in that one, and he let it go. And then when he went in the second one, Morozov got a position and then just hit into it hard twice. And after the second hit, you saw him just grab his. It's the connection between your pec and your bicep is easy to fuck with when you're trying to pull inside so hard.
Yeah.
So that's what happened there. And that brings us to the last match we're going to talk about, arguably the match of the day. Definitely some ups and downs, some frustrations. I got to be honest, in watching the match, especially because I kind of missed it when it first happened. I just heard it was awesome. When I watched it back, I was a little disappointed with like the reffing and the stuff, to the point where it didn't leave me going like, wow, that was a great match, I want to watch that again. It left me kind of going like, god damn it.
It could have been something.
It could have been such been so much cooler.
The match we're talking about is Ron Bath versus Zurab. I'm not going to try to pronounce his last name. I think it's... Okay, I'm not going to pronounce.
Ron versus Zurab.
Yeah,
when we know what we're
Zurab
talking about
from Georgia.
Yeah, and it was a great match. It was a serious battle. But once Ron got up 2-0, all of a sudden the reffing and things start to get a little shaky.
Yeah.
And that's what upsets me, is that it seemed, especially where the first one was, that it looked like Zurab should have lost on an elbow foul, but then the down ref goes, no, he elbow foul, like Ron elbow fouled too, and says it's 2 elbow fouls, and they cancel out. And then the both refs look at each other, they kind of look around, and they go, okay, I guess that's what it is. And that was just kind of, and it was clear, like, Zurab was going frantic trying to get through the last inch on Ron, so he probably elbow fouled like 3 times, and maybe Ron's elbow popped up once during that barrage. So for that to be like, elbow fouls cancel out, it just, in super matches, I think we both agree, and I think this match just exemplifies it so well. Arm wars. You got to go running fouls. You got to go arm wars style. The match should not stop until the match is over, either on fouls or on a pin. And the other part that was really frustrating was every time there was a foul, they unstrap each other, which we know they do in WAF style, and they get to walk away from the table. But Zurab was getting chalk and going to the point of actually sitting down and like taking a whole minute in between fouls. And Ron's on the table, banging the table, going, let's go.
Yeah.
And the refs aren't doing anything. Yeah. Where I guarantee you, if that had been flipped and Ron was walking around, the refs would have been like, get on the table.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So
you shouldn't be allowed to leave the table. You should have the chalk right next to the table so you don't have to leave at all, and they restrap you immediately.
Yeah, if you're going to strap again in between pulls and you're going to stop for fouls, then yeah, I agree. That's how it should go.
But it was amazing to see, like, regardless of all that, amazing to see Ron Bath.
Yeah.
Like, Devin made the point how, like, Ron Bath evolved in that match.
Yeah.
And he was, like, dude was doing things we've never seen him do before. He was kings moving, he was low-handing, he was...
Yeah.
He was, going deep inside. He was hooking. He was doing everything on the table.
Anything and everything he could. And the man is 60 years old and still just fucking grinding like crazy, pulling so hard he needs a mouth guard so he doesn't break his teeth. Like, that's amazing. And that's what makes the sport so amazing. Look at, of the East versus West performances, our best performances were the men we have over 55. All 3 men that we had in that competition that are more than 55 years old are the ones who did the best. Toddzilla, John Brzenk, and Ron Bath.
Yep.
And that's fucking amazing. That just speaks to the sport. It speaks so much about what makes the sport so awesome. And
these young European guys, they'll burn out quick, and our old guys will still be there kicking ass.
Exactly, yeah. And all right, this has already been like a 23-minute podcast or table talks as we do here, but we do want to get into one other thing at the end here, because we just talked about all these great matches. We made the point of Todd in the beginning, kind of like now that maybe he's over his prime, and like, what is he going to do now if he can't be number 1 world overall? And then talking about guys like Ron and Todd and John and older guys that are still in the sport. What it brings us to is this team arm wrestling idea that we've talked about a few times, and we're going to be able to do our first, or we're going to be doing our first sort of pilot version of this concept it's like 10 days now, so
next Sunday.
It'll be next Sunday, the 27th of February. We're going to be live streaming it, and the way we've set it up, so this concept could work for like so many different scenarios, right? You could have it in a tournament style. You could have it different weight classes. The main concept that we have that is the sort of like final form of this idea is to have it as a full league where there's like a season that, there's say 8 teams and all the teams are going to pull over the course of a 3-month season and so on and so forth. But this first pilot version that we're going to do is a 5-on-5 at 205 pounds right arm.
Yeah.
Right? So basically it's going to be like a round robin style, right?
Where everybody pulls everybody.
Yeah, from the other team.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And so the way we've done it, because one of the things that I want to try to establish with this team arm wrestling idea is strategy, so that people can make like changes, and it really comes down to understanding the styles and the pullers that are pulling, so that you can get matches to happen that are either great matches, or you get an opportunity to create a mismatch for your team to get more points, right? So we picked 5, like we kind of went through the guys that are around 200 pounds that we know that are in the clubs that we pull with frequently, right? Mm-hmm. And then picked 10 guys and put them into 2 teams, red team, blue team, just keep everything simple. Like I said, they're all around just under 200 pounds, so somewhere between like 180 and 200 roughly is where everybody is. And skills kind of vary, but they're all relatively close. And then what's going to happen is each team is going to pick their order. So 1 through 5, they're going to number their players, or their pullers, sorry. And then the day of the competition, they're going to get to see what the other team's order is. And then basically each round is going to be, like the first round will be 1 versus 1, 2 versus 2, so on and so forth. And then the next round, it'll just rotate one spot. So it'll be 1 versus 5, 2 versus 1, so on and so forth. And then that'll rotate over the course of 5 rounds, but each team will get 2 subs. So what that means is that in the course before any of the rounds start, as long as they have to make the substitution before the round starts, so they can't do it like in the middle of the round and say, oh, we're going to switch these last 2 guys or something like that. So the substitutions have to be made before the round starts, and all it will be is a flip in order. So let's say your puller 1 is really good against their puller 3, so you want to make sure that match happens twice. And you know that your puller 2 is not very good against their puller 3. So when puller 2 and puller 3 match up, you flip your puller 2 and puller 1 that round, so that puller 1 gets to go against 3 again, and you hopefully get another win. When you select your substitution before the round, the opposing team gets an opportunity to use a sub as well. So each team gets 2 subs, so you can either respond to the teams, like your opponent's substitution, or you can wait and make your own change later.
Right, because you only get 2 subs over the course of 5 rounds.
Of the whole game, the whole 5 rounds, exactly. And then you may have heard us talking about the point system, right? So the way the point system works is it's basically based on fouls, and as you show dominance in the match, basically, you gain more points. So if you're to just win the match straight with a pin, nobody occurs a foul, it's 3 points. If you say you get a foul and then you end up getting the pin, so if it's arm war style, you'll get a foul, you'll get the pin, it'll be a restart. Then the next off the restart, you get another pin without a foul. So you've won the match with 1 foul. Now you get 2 points. If you win the match but they get a foul, it's 4 points. And if they foul out or quit, it's 5 points. And then we implemented a flash pin scenario, right? So if you flash pin the guy, so if the pin happens within a half second of the go, which on this first one is just going to be based on the ref's judgment.
Basically within a split second.
Within a split second, yeah. Like if there's any resistance on the way down to the pad, it probably shouldn't count as a flash. Yeah. But basically if it's a flash pin, it counts as 4 points. If they get a foul while you're flash pinning them, you get 5 points. And then through the course of all these matches, we're going to keep score for each team. And the team with the most points at the end of the 5 rounds, or the 25 matches, is the winning team. And then we'll take the top point scorers, so the best pullers from each team, and they'll face off in a final super match to establish the MVP of the day. Yeah. And then what we're going to do is have like a money that goes out to the pullers for to the team that wins, and then we'll have a trophy for the puller of the day, for the MVP.
And this is a really awesome concept because, like you said, it now adds a strategic element to arm wrestling in a team style, and then also every puller in that team is now now highly valuable.
Yes.
And like we mentioned about the Michael Todd thing, he could be extremely valuable in this team style match because he can drain people for minutes on end and just destroy their opportunity to in their later rounds. So
exactly.
You could win the whole event for them.
You could be a coach. There's just so many different ways to look at it. So make sure you check that out. Like, subscribe, all those things.
And monkeys out.
Peace.